Hey everyone, welcome to Homeschool and welcome back to the chapter Gravitation, the most interesting and the most requested chapter, isn't it? So if you look at my previous video where I have explained what exactly is the gravitational pull or gravitational force, isn't it? So all the fundamental aspects of gravitational force we have discussed, and also we have discussed the universal law of gravitation. So that is the most fundamental aspect of the chapter. And many students were asking me, ma'am, please explain in a deeper way how moon can rotate around the earth. So I said, if this is a earth, right, and the moon always rotates around the earth, right, and I also told you the reason that keeps moon revolving around the earth is a type of gravitational force called centripetal force. Okay, so some of you have asked me, ma'am, please kindly explain the deeper aspects of centripetal force. So why does the moon does not fall on earth? So when earth is attracting moon towards itself, it should fall towards the earth, right? But it never falls on earth. Instead, it revolves around earth elliptically in a circular way, almost in a circular pattern, right? So this particular aspect I am going to tell in this video, and before you see a further video, everybody first and foremost like the video. If you are getting at least 1% benefit from the video, please do like the video and share the video with your friends. Okay, so let's see what is the reason behind the moon revolving in a circular way. See here, let me take this as earth and imagine here is moon, right? Okay, I told you this moon is pulled towards the earth. That means it should come towards the earth. It should come in this direction, right? If it is here. So what happens is at every moment it will lose the chance of falling towards earth. Okay, at every moment, I repeat once again, at every moment the moon misses. Okay, let me write it here. At every moment, you know, moon misses a chance to fall on earth. Ma'am, how does this happen, right? See, it should actually fall on earth in this direction, but what happens is somehow it gets missed. That's what we are lucky enough, because it is getting its chance to fall on earth. We people are very much lucky, we are safe on earth, right? Otherwise at every second, you know, what if it falls on earth? Then earth doesn't exist, because the moon collides the earth once and it's over in the universe, right? So there would not be any life on earth. So at every moment the moon misses a chance to fall on earth. That is what the wonder of the universe here. Okay, so instead of, you know, the earth will pull the moon towards it, but somehow it misses a chance, it goes and it comes at this point. Again here the earth pulls, but it misses a chance and it goes like this. It comes to this point. Again at this point the earth will try to pull towards itself, it misses a chance and goes there. It deviates. Okay, it comes to this point. The earth again pulls it towards it, but no, it misses a chance. So that way, you know, at every point it misses a chance to fall on the earth. Okay, so though the earth is pulling it towards it. So that's how its path of traveling is around, you know, in a circular way around the earth. You know, this particular force between earth and moon is what we mean by centripetal force. Okay, see, if you tie a particular, for example, this chalk piece, I'll tie it with a thread and I'll rotate it. Okay, so how it gets rotated? It rotates in a circular manner, right? So that strength of a you know, thread will hold the chalk piece and it allows it to move in a circular manner. So that's what that kind of a force is what we mean by centripetal force. Okay, so it's what is the main reason behind the moon rotating around the earth without falling it on earth? At every moment the earth will try to pull it towards it, but it will miss its chance and goes the other way. Okay, so that particular thing is making it to rotate in a circular manner around the earth. So this is the explanation for that particular aspect. Okay, so now let us discuss the next aspect of the chapter, that is free fall, which is very important to understand. Listen it carefully and it is going to be very interesting. And before that, if you have not liked the video, please like the video, because if you like it, if you share it, it can reach to maximum number of students. When maximum number of students watches the real content, even we get motivated to do more and more, right? So every person needs motivation, so just motivate me by doing lot of likes and shares. Okay, so let's quickly understand what exactly we mean by this free fall. See here, free fall. Let me write the sentence what exactly we mean by free fall, and later I'll give the explanation. See, when an object, okay, imagine any object which is on earth, okay, above the earth. When an object, okay, falls towards earth only due to gravitational force alone. So this particular word is a key point here. Only when an object falls down due to gravitational force alone, then the object, it in the sense object, it is said to have free fall. Okay, see, for example, I have this chalk piece. Okay, see, I'll leave this chalk piece, it goes down. Okay, so why? Because the earth is pulling it. So this fall of a chalk piece, okay, this fall which is happening, if it happens only due to gravitational force, then such a fall of an object is called as free fall. Let's understand this in a much better way. Suppose if this is the center of earth, okay, so this entire thing is earth. So on earth you have this big building. So on this big building there is a person, okay, so holding a stone, and he is throwing that stone, okay, and he is also holding a paper. Okay, so he is holding a piece of paper and he is also holding a stone. Both of them are falling onto a ground. Okay, so this falling objects freely only due to earth gravity is called as free fall. Then you can ask me a question, ma'am, then every object which is falling on earth is called as free fall only, ma'am. Then why specifically we tell it's due to gravitational force alone, right? So there is a difference, guys. See, for example, actually speaking, say I have this paper. Okay, so I have this paper and this chalk piece. So when I leave both of them, chalk piece falls first. Okay, so this is a stone, so this actually falls first, whereas paper falls later. So can you think of what is the reason? So actually this free fall is there, no? So this free fall doesn't depend on the mass of object. It is not like stone is heavier, it is going first onto the ground. It is not that concept. You know what? When it falls onto the ground, in the atmosphere you have air. Okay, since the paper is lighter in weight, the air will push the paper back. So there is air. So this is a paper. When it falls down, the air pushes it up. Whereas if it is a stone, what happens? It dominates that air resistance. So that air pushing up is there, no? So air pushing up. Okay, against the gravitational pull, the air will push it up. That is called as air resistance. So that is actually called as air resistance. Okay, so whenever the objects are lighter in weight, they will experience air resistance. if the objects are heavier, they will not experience much air resistance. That is the reason stone falls quickly onto a earth, whereas paper falls little late. Okay, so but here both the objects, if you neglect this air resistance, that way of falling onto the earth due to only gravitational force is called as free fall. Okay, but this particular free fall is getting disturbed by air resistance. Okay, but in a glass chamber, suppose you remove the air in the atmosphere. So you take a big glass jar. For suppose. Okay, so you throw a stone and you also throw a paper. Both of them fall with same speed, Okay, because both of them are experiencing only gravitational pull. Okay, so in between there is no something called air resistance. Okay, or air push, isn't it? So this free fall actually do not depend on the mass of the object, so two objects if you take, when you freely put it down, both of them will reach the ground at the same time. Okay, so when the objects are only attracted by gravitational pull, if they do not have any air resistance or nothing, then both of them, irrespective of the mass, irrespective of the size or whatever, both of them fall the earth. They reach the earth with the same speed, they reach at the same time. Okay, so this free falling of an object only under the influence of gravitational force is called as free fall. Okay, so now let's discuss more detailed aspects of this free fall here. See, so now let me take the same situation. So this is our earth, a person throwing a stone and it is reaching the earth. I mean center of the earth is pulling that stone towards it. Okay, see, as the stone reaches the earth, as it nears the earth, its speed will increase. As the stone falls onto the earth, what is that? How is the stone falling onto the earth? It is due to gravitational force, right? So it is due to gravitational force, that is F. Let me call this gravitational force as F. So whenever force is there, the object will obviously experience so-called acceleration, isn't it? See here, the stone is falling from here to earth. As it nears the earth, what actually happens? Velocity changes. Its velocity changes. And velocity increases as it approaches the ground. Okay, so here the initial velocity is 0, but the final velocity gradually it increases as it reaches the earth. That you remember. So velocity changes. Rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. Okay, so that means object actually experiences acceleration. So why is an object is experiencing acceleration? Because of this gravitational force, isn't it? So if this gravitational force was not there, object will not experience that acceleration. Okay, and this particular acceleration remains constant for every object that is falling onto the earth. Okay, so that particular acceleration which is experienced by the object due to gravitational pull is called as acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity, very very important, and this acceleration due to gravity is indicated with the letter G. Okay, so this acceleration due to gravity, that is G, is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so this is the value of acceleration due to gravity. That means at every second the acceleration increases of how much? 9.8 meter per second. And again from this point to this point, acceleration increases for about 9.8 meter per second. From this point to this point, if it reaches, acceleration increases for about 9.8 meter per second. So like this, when an object is falling onto the earth, the acceleration experienced by this object is how much? This much. And this is what we mean by acceleration due to gravity. So now let me give you the formula to calculate the G value. I'm showing you how this value has come. Okay, so let me derive a formula for calculation of G here. So we all know acceleration is always due to force. So here the acceleration of an object is due to gravitational force. So we know the second law of motion, that is F is equal to ma. M is mass of an object, A is acceleration. So here let me change this formula as F is equal to mg. So here A, instead of A I will consider G. G is what? For a freely falling body, the acceleration due to gravity is g. Okay, and in the previous class we have learnt the formula for gravitational force, that is F is equal to capital G capital M small m by d square, whereas this is gravitational constant and this m is mass of a bigger object, mass of smaller object, or I can say this m, let me consider here as mass of earth. Okay, and this m is mass of an object which is freely falling onto a earth. Okay, so now I'll substitute F here. F is equal to mg, no? So instead of this F, let me write it as mg. Mg is equal to capital G capital M small m divided by d square. And this m and this m gets cancelled. If I bring it here, it goes to a denominator, this and this gets cancelled. Okay, so now G is equal to capital G, that is gravitational constant, and capital M is what? Mass of earth. Okay, divided by d square. D square is what? D is what? Distance between the object and earth here. Okay, so suppose if you take this is earth. So whenever an object is there on the surface of earth or above the earth, you know, the distance from the object and the center of earth is nothing but the radius, no? So even it is at equator, it is r. Even the object is on pole, it is r only. Okay, so now instead of d, I will take r square. Okay, so here r is what? Radius of earth. Even if it is a big building on earth. Okay, so ma'am, you can ask me, ma'am, then the distance from the center to this building is not equal to radius, no? Building is little height, you can tell, but any object is just like a pinpoint on a earth, right? So as compared to the size of the earth, object's size can be negligible. So whatever the big building it is, you know, it is just a pinpoint on a earth. So that's why we neglect, we directly consider the radius only as the distance between the earth and object here. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so through which you can calculate the G. So when I put the value for gravitational constant, it's a constant 6.7 into 10 power minus 11, and when you substitute the value for mass of earth, when you substitute the value for radius, you know, you will actually get this value, that is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so anyway, that's not important, all these values are constant, we can put it up, they won't change. Okay, so G value, this is what you get, which is also constant, do not change for any object. Okay, so from anywhere on the earth you make it fall onto a ground, you know, it will accelerate with the same value. Its acceleration remains constant every time. Okay, so this is what we mean by acceleration due to gravity. Very, very, very important value to be remembered. And actually speaking, you know what, the radius at equator is more. At equator, the radius, let me write the point here. So just remember this, at equator, you know, radius is very high. When radius is very high, G's value is lesser. Okay, at poles, radius is less, so G's value is little higher. Okay, so at poles if you go, the value of G will be little higher than this value. Clear? But anyway, here in this chapter during calculations we consider this value only, even if the object is at equator or if the object is at poles, doesn't matter for us, we consider this. So sometimes for the calculations we can take this value as approximately 10 meter per second square also. So in many of the problems, you know, 10 meter per second square they will take it. Okay, so this is all about the free fall and acceleration due to gravity. Fine. So concept wise it is clear. So we understood what is free fall and how this acceleration due to gravity has come and how this 9.8 meter per second square value has come. Everything is fine. Okay. So what is important here is applying certain formulas. Okay. So they'll ask you some questions. You know what? Let me give you the formulas about the motion of an object. Motion of objects under the influence of gravitational pull. Gravitational pull. So every object on earth, you know, when it falls or if it goes above, the motion depends on the gravitational pull. I mean, there the objects will always experience the acceleration of around g is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so in the previous chapter we have studied 3 equations of motion, right? So let me write all those equations now. These are the 3 equations, right? So v is equal to u plus at. Here v is final velocity, u is initial velocity, a is acceleration, t is second, and s is distance, isn't it? So these formulas we have already used and we have done n number of problems out of these formulas. Same formulas you can use it in this chapter also. Whenever an object is moving with g, you know, these formulas can be used. So here all the formulas I'll again rewrite by including g instead of a. Okay, so here the formula becomes v is equal to u plus gt. So this formula becomes s. Sometimes this s can also be regarded as height of object. Height of object from earth. Okay, so s is equal to ut plus half gt square, and this formula I can rewrite as v square is equal to u square plus 2ag. So here instead of a, okay, so I have used g for an object which fall onto a ground or the objects which go up from the ground. So whenever you have to do with this kind of motion, that is object falling down and object going up. So this motion, this about free fall, when you are doing a problem regarding motion, then these formulas you have to use. And here the sign of g is very important. Okay, so whenever, remember this particular trick can help you out for solving a problem. Whenever an object goes down to earth, then g value has to be positive. I mean g's value is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, whenever an object goes against the gravity, goes up from earth, then g's value you should take it as negative. That means g's value you have to consider as minus 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so here the same formulas you can use to solve the problems of this chapter. I mean, for what kind of motion you will use these formulas? What is the difference between this and this? Only here a was there, here g, acceleration due to gravity we are using. So any object that is falling due to gravity, falling down or going up, for such object motion, okay, motion related aspects when you have to calculate, then these formulas have to be used. Okay, so remember when to consider g value positive and when to consider g value negative. So whenever object from up, if it is falling down, then it is positive. From earth, if it is going up against the gravity, if it is going up, then the value should be negative. This thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, so here instead of yes, sometimes in some of the books you will have h also. So here see, we don't talk about the distance it traveled. Here the distance traveled in the sense height, from how much distance it went from earth to up, or from there if it is falling, how much height it is from the ground. So this is how we deal. So instead of s we take height here. Okay, so problems relating to this formula and problems relating to universal law of gravitation we will discuss in the next video. So hope the concept has become clear. Like the video and share the videos with your friends, and meet you all in the next video. Thank you.